Yo, what's up, guys? Getting started here with the lesson. I'm being joined by DaVine once again. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing pretty damn good. Pretty peachy. Getting started. Late night streaming with Tremendo. What's up? What's up? Back here, Slash. How you doing? Glad to see you back here. 2 streams in a row. I missed you, man. Okay, so for those of you who were not here Monday, we had a stream with my boy here, DaVine. It was supposed to be a 2-hour lesson, but it was cut short, and we were only able to do 1 hour. So today we are doing the 2nd hour. Anyways, last time when we stopped, we were talking about how to beat each playstyle a little bit. Let's recap on that. We talked a little bit about the way that most people tend to play in neutral, which is you have your rushdown players, which just run you down, try to get the buttons, doing proactive options in your face, trying to overwhelm it. We have your passive players that play from a distance and try to react to whatever you do and try to zone you out. Try and force you to make your approach, and then once you do make your approach, kind of react to it, beat you out, and then punish you. And then you have your bait and punish players, which kind of try to force you to react to their approaching presence, and then react to what you do afterwards, while keeping safe. So they might fake approaches out, they might approach with defensive options that you can't really punish very easily, and they'll try to get the most they can from that. So, we were talking... No, one of the things you mentioned that you suffered with was adaptation. And I think this is a pretty good place to start as far as that goes. Anyways, yeah, that's weird. Okay, so the first part of this, all this stuff didn't even come up on the chat, but that's okay. That's okay. No big deal. So, generally, when you are playing against your opponent in neutral, you generally tell what they're going for, like depending on what character they're playing and what their intentions are in the way they play. Like, people have habits. Oftentimes you're gonna find, let's say you're playing against Mario, but you're gonna find a Mario player that's literally just gonna go for the grab. He's gonna run forward, get that grab, because he knows off that grab he gets everything. So he's gonna do nothing but grab and neutral. That's pretty common. And then when you're at this percentage, he's gonna do nothing but up smash in neutral, because he wants to kill.
Yeah.
So you can generally, here it's like, let's take this situation, slow it down. Let's say you know Mario wants to run up to you and up smash. What are you gonna do about it?
Shield?
Well, yeah, shield does beat attack, but at the same time, what are you gonna do afterwards? Because you can't shield grab me. Watch, try to shield grab me.
Oh, I'm very aware of how stupid his up smash is. Yeah. Okay. So, maybe like back air or something, or try to space around it?
You can try to space around it. Let's give it a shot. Looking good. As long as you don't make a mistake. So, spacing around it is actually a good call, but the issue here is watch how you space me. Look, let's try that again. Try to space me out. Like, here you're fine, but you're letting me get a little bit too close to you. If you're spacing me out, you want to keep me in range of your attack, but you don't want to keep me in range of your body. Because then it just allows me to break through. That's the thing about playing passively. When you play passively, in order to beat out an opponent that's rushing you down, you want to play from a range that you can react to anything your opponent does. And keep them at that range. If you allow them to close the distance, here it's going to be almost impossible for you to stop me from rushing you down and getting an up smash. Because how the hell are you going to react to this? Like, you're not. You have to anticipate it. And that means you're shielding early, and that means you're wasting shield, and that means you're limiting your options. From this distance, though, if I approach, you can perfect shield. Or you can shield, you can roll. Maybe not. Maybe rolling's not the best idea, because Mario can kind of beat it. Like, let me give you an example of something that'll happen against Mario. Let's say you're standing near the ledge, right? What do you think is going to happen? Assuming you're at like 120%, what do you think is going to happen if Mario just straight up runs at you? What's he going for?
Pivot grab. He's gonna pivot grab back to him.
That's a very definite option that he can do. But let's see what I want you to try to react to it as if I'm going to pivot grab back to you. I want to see what happens here. Okay, well that worked. That's good. What some people will do is, let's say they're scared of the up smash, and they're shielding, and then they realize that Mario's coming for this position. They're like, "Oh no, he's gonna grab!" So then they roll out of the way at the last second. I want to show you what happens here.
Okay.
That was a little earlier than most people do. That would work in that situation, but a lot of the times when Mario players just go for this, they end up hitting you before you roll, and they end up getting that reward, like that.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So generally, that sort of late reactive approach, that's what ends up getting you killed a lot. Yo, I'm seeing the more polished Malks.
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
That's good. Back air / calling it out in the chat.
That's good. Sweet.
Okay. So yeah, spacing it out is a good thing. When you don't have room to space it out, that makes it a little more difficult, but in general, since I'm playing Rushdown, I'm going in and I'm pressing buttons. Passive does work well against this. But you have to keep your space, because if you don't keep your space, then bad times are going to happen. Because eventually, I'm going to get something.
Right.
But if you keep me at a zone where you can react to everything I do, then what the hell am I going to do? Not gonna... You got me. Until you overstep your grounds and make them hit like that. But that's no longer neutral, that's something else.
Right.
Yo, Reality Spin, how you doing? Welcome to the chat, man. Okay, so let's take another example. That's one way of dealing with rushdown approach. Stay back and play it out. Okay. Now, what if I'm zoning you? Let's say there's 1 minute on the clock, and I have a lead against you. Let me raise your percentage a little bit. Okay, let's say there's 1 minute on the clock, and I have a lead against you, and I'm staying this far away. What are you gonna do about it?
I'm gonna try to chase you down with speed art.
Okay. Now the lead's getting worse.
Yeah.
Remember what I said about trying to approach someone from point A to point B across the stage. It's very easy for me to react from this distance.
Right.
I could stay on the other side of the stage, and the clock is running out. There's already 10 seconds left. And I have this much of a lead against you. At this point, you might as well forfeit.
Yeah.
So,
You're right.
let's reset that situation. So, once again, let's think about it before going for it. What do you gotta do here?
I gotta kind of like... Should I like just try to get into your zone and then just kind of force like an unreactable situation?
Well, that's one way to do it, but in general, if you try to get into my zone, I'm going to be reacting by default. What I would suggest in this situation is you would want to fool my reaction time. You would want to throw me off and in doing so create an opportunity for you to react. I mean, for you to punish my reaction. Like, remember how I would beat your zoning out? I would do something like this, step out of the way, and punish you.
Right, okay.
You can do something similar to this with, like, walk forward, perfect pivot backwards, and speed art. Or you can even just do the easy mode version, which is run forward, roll, and then use your speed there. It's not the best way of doing it, but because you can't punish my option immediately, but you can gather information by doing so. You can think, okay, when I approach, he's going to blank. Like, he's going to jump away, or he's going to rush forward with a forward air, or he's going to shield, he's going to roll backwards, he's going to run backwards, and then just watching him.
Do it again!
Yo, thanks so much for the sub. You the best. Flora, giving a tier 1 sub to Maverick. God damn, why you giving the monies around like this? Combo video, yes.
I'm really feeling it.
Yo, back air, you can't see the chat. You might want to refresh the page. Because people are talking. Otherwise, you're getting the bad mixed up stuff. Oh my lord, yo, the sub's going all over the place. Let's go. God damn it. Yo, thanks so much. Flora and Reality. You the best. We got subs going left and right over here. Oh my lord, this is... I love you guys. Thank you so much. Anyways. Reminds me of Fortnite, yeah? Okay, so let's try the situation one more time. You got a minute on the clock. Let me open up a clock so I can give you an actual count. Start now. Nice. 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 Oh, you're making the catch up. You're getting there. You have less than 30 seconds. Woo! You have 10 seconds. You got it! Let's go!
Woo! Alright.
That's how you do it!
Gotta go deep. Alright.
That's exactly how you do it.
So, I gotta play riskier? Is that the thing?
It's not so much playing riskier, it's getting more reward. It's forcing your opponent to make risky decisions. If you play riskier and you get caught out, you end up taking a lot of damage. Like when you did the nair into the jab and I blocked it, and I got that punish off of it, that was a bad position to be in. But the goal is you have to be able to turn, to get the most out of your advantage state. You have to be able to force the advantage state, win neutral, and then turn it around while your opponent's trying to stall out the clock. Because they're not giving you any quarter, they're not going to overextend unless you force a reaction out of them. And once you force that reaction out of them, you can then completely turn the tide on them. Like that empty hop grab that you did when you realized that I had a shield habit, that was perfect. That was a beautiful way to turn that around.
Awesome.
How likely is it to use their passive play against them by leading them to the ledge and take away options? It's very likely, actually. That's another thing that you can do. If your opponent's constantly backing up whenever you approach, then all you have to do is keep approaching softly. Like, what you do, instead of going straight up into them and allowing them to wall you out with like back airs and things like that, what you do is you gently push into them. Because you take a step forward into the range where they can't react to what you're doing, and they're going to take a step back because they feel pressured by you. So you take a step forward, they take a step back. They keep taking a step back until you walk into the ledge and they can't take a step back anymore.
Right.
And now they're forced to act when they're pressured by you. This is your opportunity to catch them off guard.
Gotcha.
And Shulk is really good at doing that. It's not something that too many people exploit with Shulk, but like things like a Malk back air into a forward tilt, or a Malk back air into just take a step backwards, wait to see what they do, or back air to pressure their shield and make it small so they can't just sit at the ledge and shield, and then and then once they try to get over you, you have your massive up tilt. You have the ability to play passive against them and force them off stage. Once they're off stage, now you can ledge trap and get stupid amounts of percent by just turning on Buster. Like,
right.
That's phenomenal.
I just gotta use it like in the right way. Like I can't just.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't like reveal all my cards all at the same time. I gotta like, kind of like.
It's not so much a matter of revealing your cards, because that is another important thing that I do want to talk about. But it's like you have to be able to pressure and convert without giving up your options. And in this case, it's a matter of life or death whether you're able to force them to act out. Once they act out, you can exploit that, but it's like a misdirection. Yeah, you don't want to give away... I see kind of what you're saying. You don't want to give away the options that you're going for, because then they'll know, but you can also use that to your advantage by turning it around. Because if they're expecting misdirection, then you can catch them out with the obvious approach, and it's going to catch them out. This is a concept called Yomi. If they think you're going for the obvious play, then they'll go for the counterplay. So you go to the counterplay of the counterplay, and then they'll try to counter that, but that counterplay for the later thing often loses to the original thing you were trying. A good example of this is advancing Nair. Let's say you try to hit me with advancing Nair, and you get this, and it's like, okay, you got the advancing Nair. So let's say, and you get a large combo off of that. It's really good, it's pretty safe, so long as you're not like in neutral, and you can even get a kill off of it. Like, it's kind of stupid. So,
usually.
So let's say I know it's coming. Like, I'm talking specifically in a situation where I maybe can't fully react to it, but I can anticipate. So maybe when I'm at a frame disadvantage and I have to act quickly. If I know it's coming, I shield, I grab, I get stupid percent. And you regret your life. So, let's call that Yomi level 0, the obvious choice, and Yomi level 1, the counterplay to the obvious choice. Now, Yomi level 2 is what beats that counterplay. You are approaching from the air, and I shield, so you grab. That's Yomi level 2. And you could potentially get some pretty goddamn good reward off of that. Like with the Minato Purge, like just simply throwing me off stage and getting an edge guard. Like, it's kind of nasty, what you can get with that.
Yeah.
So, let's say I expect you to go for the empty hop grab. So, you come at me, and I go for an anti-air.
Okay.
So, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to grab me. But, if I'm going for an anti-air in this situation, your Nair will beat it. So long as you time it right.
Yeah.
This is a clear example of Yomi at work. Honestly, back air slash, I really like the fact that Shulk is very tech heavy and requires a lot of dedication to play. Even though it kind of hurts his the ability for people to pick up Shulk and really make good use of him. The fact that he has so much going for him that he can work on to get better it reminds me of, like, Shulk is a scientist. He spends a lot of time in the lab researching the Monato's power, and that's exactly what you have to do in Smash. You have to spend a lot of time in the lab researching the Monato's power in order to get good with Shulk.
I can see it. That was stupid.
So anyways, that's, Yomi is another tool that you can use for the purpose of adaptation and conditioning. If you're able to force your opponent to take a certain approach, then you can beat them out with going for the counter to the counter and then condition them off of it so you can go for your higher rewarding thing. Maybe you want to grab them because it's purge percent. So you threaten them with nairs. Like maybe you nair a little bit in this range. Yeah, kind of like zoning them. And then you scare them, and then when you jump in, instead of going for the nair, you go for the grab. Or you might do the opposite. Like, you might do some empty hops over here, and then when you jump in, you actually nair. Because at this point, they're not reacting to your nair. They're not reacting to your jump, because you're already empty hopping. It's like, watch, there's a big difference between reacting to this. No, between reacting to this. Hold on. This example. Try to react to this. Very easy, right? Now what if I'm doing this?
Yeah.
It becomes a lot harder because now you're not reacting to the option. You're not reacting to the jump in and grab. You're reacting to the jump in. You're reacting to what I do after I jump. So now, instead of reacting to jump squat plus airtime plus landing, you are reacting to when I use the attack. And that's almost impossible to react to. That's tricking reaction time. That's conditioning the opponent. That's why empty hop is such a powerful tool. Because now, this frame 19 option that you had, or frame 18 option, or even worse, with the approaching near, you could just empty hop, and now, instead of a frame 18 option, it's a frame 13 option.
Right.
No, Waldo, Laura gave you a sub because you played Samus. That was her explanation yesterday, on Monday. That was her, that's her ninja way. Anyways, let's continue this.
Okay.
Okay, so next step. Let's say you're zoning your opponent, right? Your opponent starts doing some tricky stuff like this. How do you deal with that? What are you gonna do?
Probably just like zone with like some like retreating nerves and stuff, like kind of.
Okay.
And then every once in a while, whenever I notice them like going back, I'll probably like try to like jump fair or something.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay.
This is being a lot more effective than it should because of Wi-Fi, but
Oh yeah. I lost my jump there. I didn't know that.
let's try that one more time.
Okay.
Well,
Oh shit.
Let's try that one more time.
Alright.
There's something that I want to get across here. That's kind of hard to get across because it's Wi-Fi. But essentially, the main thing that's happening here is that when you succeed an exchange in this position, you get a zoning option. You knock me backwards and then reset the situation. When I succeed, I get a ridiculous amount of percent on you. And that's not because of the characters we're playing, so much as it's because of the way that we're playing these situations out. It's by design. If you are zoning me out, then you are getting straight hits. If I am rushing you down, then I am getting a combo. And if I am playing like this, and you are playing off reaction, then you are likely to overextend, and I am likely to pressure you through that. Like so. And I just need to hit you once, and I have the advantage. Meanwhile, you zoning me out, you have to keep me zoned the entire time that you're zoning me out.
Okay.
So, in general, this isn't a very good position to be in, especially because, watch this. Keep playing, keep playing.
Okay.
Ooh. I want to see if I can get something across here. And I'm starting to be able to get it. You're spending all this time zoning me out, but once you get to the corners, you can't do that anymore. You are being forced to approach. And oftentimes, if I overextend, then you're able to cross me up, and you're able to continue the zone. But if I don't overextend, which is what I'm not supposed to be doing considering the nature of the playstyle that I'm playing in, you're in a bad spot. That was really bad on my part. But yeah, what I want to get across is that passive play generally loses to this playstyle by design.
Yeah.
So zoning me now is not the option. It can work, especially if the person who's trying to bait you ends up making a mistake. And on Wi-Fi, it's more likely to work than on offline, I'll tell you that much right now. But
Yeah,
in general, what you want... No, what else can you do to deal with this? If someone's trying to bait you out.
kind of like pivot grab.
Yeah. If you rush them down, they won't be able to react to what you're doing. This playstyle is a very reactive playstyle, so if you rush them down, they have nothing to react to. They're just getting hit before they can even do their option.
Right.
Like we said before, it's like a game of rock, paper, scissors. if I'm playing off reaction, then I am not really doing too much to make my statement known. But like, if you rush me down and you catch me off guard, then you get your reward. We're both getting equal amount of reward, and unless I really take a step back and change from active defense to passive defense, I can't react to what you're doing. This is forcing me to back off. Or forcing me to switch playstyles completely. Which is kind of what you want. Now, this something I want to address here. These aren't the only ways to beat these playstyles. You don't always have to play the game of rock, paper, scissors. What you can also do is you can tie. Instead of aiming to have the advantage, you can aim to tie. And if you are better at that aspect than your opponent is, then you will usually win. Like, for example, let's say I'm playing to zone you. Let's say we're not playing the clock, but I'm trying to zone you away.
Okay.
And let's say you decide, you know what? I have a bigger sword. I don't have to take this abuse. So, how can I zone you away if you're zoning me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, alright. I don't know what happened there. Something
Okay.
happened.
What I was saying,
So,
was, this isn't the only way that you can play against these styles.
okay.
Instead of aiming to get the advantage against your opponent, you can aim to tie with. And depending on who plays it better and the characters involved and what their tools look like, you could actually turn out to be a win. Like, for example, let's say I'm playing passively against you. Like, I'm trying to zone you out. But let's say you decide, you know what? I don't want to take this abuse. I have a bigger sword than you. What the hell am I going to do about it? How the heck can I zone you if you're zoning me?
Right. Well, I just messed
Yeah,
up there.
that's you crossing the border and getting bodied. If you switch from passive offense to active offense against this playstyle, you're gonna get destroyed. But if you stay outside of my unreactable zone, then what the hell am I gonna do about it? I get destroyed. And the same thing applies to every other playstyle. You can aim to tie. If I am rushing you down and you rush me down and hit me first, then I lose.
Right.
If I am trying to bait your options and you bait my bait and punish my punish, then I lose. And a good way of doing that is with Malk.
Right. Okay.
The reason Malk is such a powerful option in neutral is because it's a hybrid. An approaching Malk aerial by design is a sign of active offense was the attack, and active defense was the Malk. So you immediately cover your bases and win or tie with everything.
That's super cool. I never even thought about it like that. That is super cool. Wow.
The only choice that the opponent has when dealing with it is to not deal with it. Like, if you Malk onto my shield, the safest thing I could do is just get the hell away from there.
Yeah.
I could try to play around it. Like, here's one thing I can do. I could throw out a lingering attack out of shield. Because it's like, if you try to dodge it with the iframes, then I'm just going to cover you afterwards if you do. But what if you shield? What if instead of trying to use the iframes and punish, you just shield out of the iframes?
Oh yeah.
Oops. you go. In the end, it's a 50-50 with low risk to you. If you fail,
Right.
you get jabbed. Who cares? If you succeed,
Right.
you can potentially kill them.
Right. Man. Woo. I'm gonna need some time to digest that, because that's like... That just opens up a world of possibilities for this character.
Malk is broken.
Wow.
Like, there's a reason that people get carried by it.
Did I get carried by it?
Yeah, there's people that pick up Shulk, and the only thing they do is Malk. And they do some pretty good work, but then they end up getting bodied, and they don't know why. And the reason that they get bodied is because they're using Malk in situations where it does not fit. This is why I feel it's important to learn fundamentals before learning advanced tech. Because if you know where to apply the technique, then you're able to use it. You're able to learn how to use it. In this case, I just taught you why Malk is broken. Now, when you learn Malk, you can apply it and you can realize when it works and when it doesn't work. As opposed to applying it in every situation and using it as a catch-all when it really isn't one. This is why a lot of people feel that Malk is overrated. It really isn't. It's just people are bad.
Right. It's just like... Gotta use it at like the right time, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yo, what's up, Domino? How you doing? Yo, the good Sam is talking to chat. I respect it. So, moving on from this, the reason I went through every single playstyle, I want to talk about adaptation now.
Okay.
So, when you are fighting an opponent, you realize they're using a particular playstyle, you should immediately think, okay, they are playing like this. So, I can adjust myself and play in a way to beat or tie with them. So, for example, if you see your opponent constantly trying to rush you down and hit you, then you realize, okay, they are playing rush down. I should play passive or rush down.
And like don't play zoning. Or, like is zoning different from passive or?
No, zoning is a subset of passive.
Okay.
So you should zone them.
Okay, definitely like retreat nair and stuff, and like just make sure they don't get in no matter
Yeah,
what.
keep them out of the range where you can't react to their approach. So, for example, let's say you're dealing with Fox, and Fox comes in like, whoosh, dash attack. Whoosh, dash attack. It's like, okay, if you're in range of the dash attack and you can't react to it, then you're gonna get destroyed. So what you do is you stay out of that range. And now suddenly, Fox can't whoosh dash attack you anymore, and you can body him with like landing nair into combo.
Yeah.
Same thing applies to Meta Knight, same thing applies to Samus to some extent, same thing applies to almost every character in the game. This is why mid-range is so powerful. Because that mid-range play is where you are able to keep the opponent at a range where you are threatening them, but they cannot threaten you.
That's why Shulk's back air is so good.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
Just pokes across. Advancing back air reaches across the damn stage, but at the same time, you don't want to use it when your opponent is staying still or moving easily. Because then you get punished. If they are running away from you, then you could use it to cover them. So against someone who's trying to max range space you out, you can back air them, and they get bodied. Yo, Yarv, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. How you doing? I haven't seen you around in a while. I miss you. Okay, but yeah. Now, this doesn't just apply in terms of playstyles. This is a very rudimentary way of saying it. Like I said, Yomi also goes into it, and analyzing habits also goes into it. So, like, you see your opponent going into, like, this kind of play is like, okay, I know he's going to do that, so I'm going to rush him down, or bait his bait, punish his punish. I see my opponent rushing him with shield, so I'm going to dash grab. You don't always want to think so linearly, but if you leave yourself with this wide range of because if you play linearly, the opponent can also actually bait you. So for example, he could do something like, I could do this to approach you, and then this to approach you, and next time you're like, okay, he's gonna grab. No, he's gonna shield, so I'm gonna grab. And then they just...
That's okay. I thought you were gonna run up spot dodge, actually.
I mean, I could. Or alternatively, this is the even worse outcome.
Yeah, you're right. Like, just like, you ran up, I thought you were gonna shield, and you did that, I would die.
Yeah, pretty much. So you have to acknowledge what kind of opponent they are. And that's why it's important to gather knowledge on your opponent. If your opponent... It's very important to acknowledge the difference between an opponent who adapts and an opponent who does not. And that's very important because when you play, you apply conditioning to your opponent. If your opponent is not one who can be conditioned, you are wasting your efforts and getting yourself punished for no reason. It's like playing scissors against a rock main.
Yeah.
There's no reason to.
Do it again!
God damn it. Fucking stank shit. How is it? Like this? Something like that. Thank you so much for the sub. Flora again. God damn it, Flora! You're throwing money at me. I feel attacked. I'll have to stick to the Fortnite dance. Anyways. What was what were we talking about?
Talking about, changing
Oh,
your play style.
we were talking about conditioning someone who can't be conditioned.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your opponent is the kind of person who's gonna do nothing but rush in and shield grab you, then you should do nothing but grab them and feel no remorse. Because if you do this, then they're never gonna get to the position where you can fear anything else.
Right.
And then they respawn and they go for it again. Because this is all they know. And you should feel no remorse. You fight a DDD player and he does nothing but run towards you, you grab him every single time. It doesn't matter what he's gonna do, you grab him.
Really, because DDD gives me a lot of trouble. Not like a lot, but he's just annoying. So, like, just grab
If
him.
DDD runs forward, you grab. It's very flowchart.
He has no options.
If he runs forward. If he does other things, if he walks forward, he has options. If he runs backwards, he has options. If he tries to zone you, he has options. If he runs forward, he has sealed his doom.
Pretty bad.
Oh god damn! God damn it! Sub only chat. Yo, you right. How do I set that? I feel like setting that now. I really shouldn't set that. God damn it. Oh! Throwing money at me. God damn. stars everywhere.
Ah, no, pero
I dropped the headphones.
esto más de una vez, güey. Vos brinca aquí en el cuarto.
Backslash.
I mean, when you really think about it. Yeah, the whole Tremendo Discord gonna have to move to the dude role. You're right. Oh my lord. No, this I love you guys. Thank you so much, Flora. You're throwing money at me and it hurts. I'm feeling the coins against my chest. Every time. But they said to do it again, so you did it again. You loyal. I respect that. There is a Tremendo Discord. Let me go ahead and link that. What's up, man?
I had a question about Malk. So, you know how like Malking on shield and then like Malking like hitting them is different?
Yes.
If
Malk on hit and Malk on whiff is different, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, is there any way you could like option select it to where no matter what, if you hit them on hit or hit them like on shield, it'll be safe? Is there like a
Yes.
frame window
Here's how you
where
do it.
can, like...
No, there's nothing like that. Here's the logic behind it, okay?
Okay.
Almost always Malk for whiff. Because here's what happens. If you miss or if you hit their shield, it's one timing. And if you hit them, it's another timing. So let's say you aim it to whiff or hit their shield and activate the Malk. If you miss or hit their shield, you will be safe. If you hit them, they will be knocked away and in hit stun, and as a result, you'll be safe.
Right.
That's it. You don't have to Malk. You just hit them, and you get your reward.
Right.
You get a.
So there's like no way to like.
Unfortunately, not.
That
You will not. You cannot guarantee a Malk regardless of either one. No, there's no way.
Dang, that sucks. 'Cause I was just thinking like you could like set up like an option select at the ledge. With,
If you
like a downer or something.
no,
I don't know.
nothing like that.
That sucks. I was just like thinking about that the other day, going maybe, but yeah, if it's like that different, I feel like there's probably just not enough like of a window, I guess. That sucks. I mean, it's still really like Malk's still broken. Don't get me wrong. Like it's not like he needs that. I'm just saying like it'd be cool.
Yeah. Of course. No, that's one of the things that I would hope that they would it would probably break him, but it's something that they could do to Shulk.
For sure. And like, what if they just take out Malk entirely? Like noticing.
I will be sad.
That would just suck so much.
Okay,
How much
so
time do we got left?
we have. Oh, I wasted a bit of time. So let's say we have about 15 minutes.
15 minutes. All right.
Okay, so what else should we talk about? Let me go down the list. Okay, so you said you want to understand neutral. We went through neutral extensively. Learn Shulk's best neutral tools. You got Malk, you got the related Monado art activations. You have zoning with down tilt and nair, and retreating back air and staying in place with that. You have Buster art in general, making your attack safe on shield. Your opponent cannot approach with a shield if you are zoning him backwards unless they perfect shield, and even then if they perfect shield, they still can't do too much. Like, this is
Really?
broken.
It has that much.
Yes, it has that much shield stun. It's broken. Speed art lowers the shield stun that you have,
Yeah.
as does speed and smash.
At the same time, it's still like a little bit safer because your airspeed is increased, so you can,
Yeah, you can distance yourself. I wouldn't say it's safer, but it can be safe. And at the same time, if you, it also makes your grabbing presence that much stronger. Because if they're more likely to shield because shield is a better option, then you can grab and get more reward off the grab. So
okay.
that's pretty good.
Is that why tomahawks work better in shield? Or
It's
sorry,
not necessarily why empty hop grabs work better in speed. It is part of it if they know the matchup, but most people don't know the Shulk matchup. They don't know that speed attacks are less safe on shield.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
It's simply because you're in the air for less time because your jump is lower.
That makes more sense. You're right. You're right.
Let's see, what else? Edge guarding and ledge trapping is something you said you're good at. How about with Shulk?
With Shulk, I just kind of nair up the ledge and then just kind of like forward air, like wherever they're gonna jump in, and then
Okay.
react to whatever they do.
Well, here, let's talk about this.
Okay.
Let's say try to ledge trap me here.
Okay. That was my turn.
Okay, let's try it one more time. Okay, good. Okay, so one thing that I want to get across. The way you're zoning at the ledge like this is effective against almost every option. Except staying at ledge and neutral getup. Because if you try to catch them here, then they can react. Which is where you can threaten them with that, or with like lingering attacks, or just put yourself in range to grab. But at the same time, you should think about not just what you can do that works, but you should think about what the best things that you can do that work are. So, instead of just throwing out attacks, let's break down what works and what doesn't. Okay, so, if you fair, then what do you get from the fair?
Get off stage. I get to repeat the ledge trap.
Okay, now what if you fair and I roll?
I lose all my advantage.
Yes. Now, fair isn't always a bad thing. It covers a lot of vertical space. It's a good option against jump and drop off, simply because of how much space it covers, and it can hit people who stay on ledge. You don't get that much reward off of it though, unless your opponent's at a high percent. In which case you could set up a very potent ledge guard situation, or you can kill it. That's pretty good. Now, let's talk about other things. If you nair facing the ledge, you can cover that pretty well. What if they jump? Now, we're breaking down each option individually.
Oh, yeah.
If they jump, you're throwing out the nair at a position where it's not likely to hit them, unless you do it in advance. And if you do it in advance, then your opponent can wait for you to do it and then jump over you.
Gotcha.
That's not to say nair is bad, but think about the trajectory that your nair is going. If you nair facing the stage, then you are chasing them with the nair as they go over you. And if you do hit them, you'll knock them back towards the stage. Instead of chasing them with the nair, why don't you have the nair meet them? Try facing away from the stage and nair. Now, it's not just that you get. When you nair facing away from the stage, facing towards the stage, your nair, the part that comes out fastest starts out behind and below you, which is exactly where the opponent is. If you're facing away from ledge. So you can actually just fast fall and hit the opponent from that position. Or if the opponent tries to come at you, oh god, that was awful, but it worked. Let's go. So if the opponent tries to do something like rise up with an attack, and you nair in that position, you hit them for it. If the opponent does a neutral getup, you could potentially nair, and you could be safe, because you can retreat into the stage. And if they roll, you can then move forward towards the roll on reaction and hit them with a nair. And if you're in Buster when spacing them at ledge, then you can even combo that nair into a grab and then throw them back off stage. There's actually a clip that Nico got at a tournament very recently that shows an example of that exact sort of setup, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna send it to you right now, and I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna play it on stream. Let me link it in the chat, and I'm gonna play it on stream. Coding overload, what the heck? Okay. Is it well centered? No. But now, yeah, that looks good enough. Lower this a little bit, and let me link it to you. So, Nico is getting whacked a little bit by S-Bruce, pushes him at the ledge, turns on Buster, does a nair, this time facing towards the ledge, but he gets a very similar result. He hits S-Bruce with a nair in the same position that a roll would have put him. He gets the nair, throws him on the stage, S-Bruce lands at ledge, and then he gets the nair F smash and gets the kill for it.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was like super cool. Man, this is the kind of stuff I need to practice.
Mm-hmm. This is the kind of stuff you can get with the nasties.
Yeah, seriously.
So, is there anything else that we can talk about? I think with that alone, we covered quite a lot of ground in terms of ledge trapping. Let me see. You wanted your weaknesses were neutral game, which we talked a lot about. Adaptation, which we talked a lot about. You don't respect your opponent, which adaptation would kind of help with, because you're actually watching your opponent. No defensive play. Now you know when to play defensively. The only thing left is that you have a tendency to tilt. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
So, tilting has a lot to do with your mindset when you play. Because why do you tilt? It's because something bad happened. Something that you didn't want ended up being the result. So, what did you want? When you enter a tournament, what is your goal?
To win.
Yeah. Something that's pretty obviously well stated. A lot of people say play to win, but they don't realize the implications of what playing to are.
Uh-huh.
So, let's say you go to a tournament. You decide, all right, I'm gonna win this tournament. So you go to round 1. Round 1 turns out to be a little harder than you anticipate. Something bad happens. You suffer a setback. You SD at the beginning of game 1. That puts you further away from the goal of winning. That puts you closer to losing. That, and it's something that happened because you made a mistake. So you start to tilt. You get a little upset. You start making now, because you get upset, you're more likely to make a mistake. Let's say you make another mistake, like you make a bad call, and you make a risky decision, and you're getting caught out. So you lose that game. You don't feel you deserve that loss. You start to tilt even more. That makes you even more upset. So game 2 starts. You're going to this match already tilted. And you're more likely to make a mistake. You make mistakes, you get more tilted. You make mistakes, you get more tilted. Now let's talk about the other end of what happens here. Let's say you're on the border of winning a match. Or let's even take it a step further. Let's say you're on the border of winning grand finals.
Yeah. Alright.
You see your goal in sight. If you take this next stock, you win the tournament. And because of that, you are blinded by the result. So what ends up happening is, because you see the result, what might end up happening, you start making choices that would lead to that result. You start making high reward decisions. And the thing about high reward decisions, that they also tend to have high risks attached. So, if you play in a high-risk manner and make decisions that have high rewards that don't necessarily have high chances of success, and the opponent is playing safe and trying to slowly come back from it, you give him an inch and he takes a mile, you're setting yourself back, and you will start to tilt. And you will start making mistakes. And making mistakes with those high stakes will feel crushing. You are so close to these. And the reason that you feel this way, you go home thinking, maybe I shouldn't be playing Smash Brothers anymore. I'm not cut out for this. But then you come back to the next weekly because you love this game so much.
Yeah, that described me perfectly. I mean, I haven't been like that close to winning a grand finals that like really mattered to me anytime recently. But there's been a couple matches where I felt that way because I was so close to getting that like PR win, so close to like, you know, achieving like a small goal, you know, but like a small goal, but like big to me because small goals lead to big goals and whatnot.
Of course,
so,
of course.
Yeah, you know, and a lot of times, like whenever I lost like those kind of matches, it was just because I threw out like random smash attacks or
Yeah, because the smash attack would have killed, or would have gotten good
Uh-huh.
damage, and you got punished for that. Like maybe the person was like 110%, you threw out like 20 smash attacks and none of them hit.
Yeah, or recently I fought against a Rob. This was when I was playing Rosalina, by the way.
Yeah.
He was at like 130. I was at like 50, and he just like camped around in shield. I knew he was doing this too, but I thought I'd catch him off guard somehow, and so like I tried up smashing him like 3 times, and he just grabbed me and just killed me for it because Rob does that. So that like that made me super mad.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So,
but if I just played more patiently, I definitely could have won that.
Yeah, if you instead of trying to force the situation, you created an opportunity, then you would have been able to win. But you weren't thinking straight. You were trying to get the win. You were trying to force it without putting in the steps that would result in that situation. It's the same as with the buffer deactivation forward smash was a nair that's been going around. I've been doing it, Nico's been doing it, and a lot of people have been trying it. And the reason that it hasn't caught on until recently is because people have been trying to force it. People have been fishing for Buster Nairs because they know the Buster Nair leads to forward smash. You don't fish for it. It doesn't work. You have to set it up. You have to put the pieces in play. You have to set the board for it. Now, this is all going on a slight tangent, but the point is, you can't think clearly when you're in that situation because you have so much pressure on yourself and you're so close to reaching the goal that you will do anything to take that extra step and get that wonderful leap of euphoria, and then you end up completely falling out of it because of the fact that you were blinded.
Mm.
And then you go home blaming yourself. Now, what the issue with this is that you are missing what's how can I describe it? You are too focused on the destination instead of the journey. Your goal is entirely dependent, like your success is entirely dependent on your victory. If you do not succeed, you believe you have failed. That puts an enormous amount of pressure on you. Instead,
I see that.
what you should take from this is when you enter a tournament, your goal should not be, as backwards as that sounds, it should not be to.
Okay.
Your goal should be to play as well as you possibly can, to put forth
I
everything
understand
you've
that.
learned
Yeah.
and bring it out.
Okay.
It should be to just play smart, play solid, play grounded, do what you can to win. And if you play well enough, you will win. It's the natural progression of events. In doing so, you're focused on the situation at hand. You're focused in the moment. You do not have a carrot dangling over your head that's going to force you to act out in reckless manners. Instead, you can focus on the situation and play according to that situation. So you could win without the added pressure. In that situation where you had to play patient, you can play patient. The
Wow.
the instant you start thinking, I can do this, I can win, is the instant that you start playing reckless and everything starts falling apart. The instant you think, I don't think I can do this, I'm gonna lose, is the instant that you play more reserved and everything starts falling apart.
Hmm.
If that happens in a tournament, you have to hard reset your mindset, pull back from that situation, and go back into thinking something basic level that would allow you to shift back into your tournament winning mindset, which is, what is he doing right now? Is there something that I can exploit in the way he's playing? Is he playing passive? Is he playing aggressively? Trying to bait me? What has he done in the past in this set? What can I pull out as a trump card? As you've been doing neutral getup a lot, that means I can up smash him at the ledge when the time is right. Has he been rolling from ledge? Has when I approach, what does he do? You start thinking about the things that you would normally think about in a tournament situation, and you'll go in. Like, don't think about winning. Don't think about the result. Think about the match. You're playing the match. Don't think about anything else.
Right.
But it's not just that. That's not the only way to go about it. There's also playing to learn, which is very important as well when you feel that you are not ready to win the tournament. It's something that is better reserved for friendlies and smash fests and bunny matches, but it's something that can be very valuable in a tournament setting as well. When you play to learn, it's very similar in the fact that you are focused on the match and you are not focused so much on the results, so you're not putting pressure on yourself. However, the main difference is that playing to play well, you are calling on your past experience, while playing to learn, you are trying to create new experiences.
Mm, I see.
This means that
I
you are
see.
more likely to experiment and you are more likely to adapt to your opponent. But unfortunately, an experiment can blow up in your face if you're not careful.
Right.
That's not a bad thing, unless there's a lot of money on the line.
Yeah. You know, you can learn your lesson, but like if you learn your lesson and you lose a lot of money, then that kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
yeah, I see what you mean.
So try to save that for when it doesn't matter, but at the same time, while you're learning Shulk, it might be the most rewarding thing. You might be
Right.
better off just playing to learn.
Mhm.
And the important thing is to not let that go till you know, even after you start reaching your goals. Once you start winning, this doesn't mean that you should focus on winning now. Because that happened to me, let me tell you. I started with this goal of playing to learn. I did really well. One day I got 5th at a weekly that was stacked, and I'm like, alright, I'm good at this game now. Time to win next time. And then I got 17th.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And they were directly related to each other.
Yeah, man. Yeah, mindset. Like I always thought it was like a weakness of mine, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But like you're totally right. Like it really is like something that like can like make or break your result.
In a high pressure
Man.
situation, your mind is the only thing you can rely on. Keep you cool,
Yeah.
to uh, allow you to clutch out the match. Because when you're a forward smash away from winning the match, and all you're doing is forward smashing, you're missing the forest for the trees. Like, there's just no way to say it. It's just. Here's another way to think about it. Let's say your opponent's at a percent where a forward smash would kill. If you kept playing the exact same way, then they would eventually be at a percent where a nair would kill, or an up air would kill, back air,
Right.
or like a down tilt at ledge would, or a back throw would kill. The longer you play solidly, the more likely it is that the opponent will.
Yeah, but like on the opposite side of the coin, you don't want to play too reserved because you want to close up that stock before they get some like rage jank on you.
Yeah, that's true as well. It's just
Because like especially against Bayonetta.
you want.
And
The
Roach,
thing
yeah.
is, the main thing that you want to focus on here isn't so much on the move that you're going to use to steal it out, but on the situation you're going. Instead of like, I guess one way to say it is, it's a lot easier to get a kill when you have the advantage than it is to have when you're in neutral. It's a lot easier to get a kill when you're. It's not a lot easier to win neutral when you're in neutral than when you're.
Right.
When you are in neutral, your goal should be to take the advantage. When you have the advantage, your goal should be to keep the advantage as long as possible. And when you are in disadvantage, your goal should be to reset to neutral. Because when you're in neutral, if you try to play the same way that you're playing in, if you try to play neutral the same way you play the advantage state, you're going to lose neutral. If you try to play the disadvantage state the same way you play neutral, you're going to get bodied.
Hmm.
And if
That
you
makes sense.
play the advantage state the same way you play neutral, you're going to reset to neutral. And you're going to lose. So it goes both ways.
That makes sense. I get that.
Alright. Well, for now, we are out of time. Is there anything you want to
All
ask
right.
before we end up shutting down?
Uh, Not really. This is a lot to take in before a tournament on Saturday.
Yeah.
But hopefully I can get it like somewhat down before that. Before then. Oh man.
I'm going to try to get the notes page to you ready before Saturday so you can review it. But of course, we also have the VOD that you can watch at any time. So the
Right.
VOD eventually gets taken down by Twitch.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, definitely take all the
Sweet.
review you can. If there's any questions that you think of from here to then, feel free to message me. And if any of this works
Awesome.
out for you, please message me as well. I love success stories.
Awesome. Yeah, sure, I will.
All right. Well,
All
it's
right,
been a
man.
pleasure, man. And of course,
Thank you
you
so
still
much.
have 2 more hours of lessons, so definitely
Right,
hit
right.
me up for a follow up later on.
Sure. Of course. All right. See you later, man.
Take care. Well, that was a good time. So, for those of you who don't frequent the lesson streams, I do these for $20 donations usually. $20 gives you 1 hour of lesson time, tailored to you. A lot of people come to me for Shulk lessons, but I can do lessons for pretty much any character, since the lessons I do usually focus on fundamentals. But anyways, that was a good time. There's I think you apply a lot of that stuff. Growth doesn't come immediately, but it does come over time. And you can go far. You definitely can.